All right, Kiseochan, returning guest. So I do read that you're several certain types, or I'm guessing you go by INFP most of the time, no, right? I mean, why is there multiple types exactly?
I pretty much meme type myself as an INFP. Um, the reason I would say there's like multiple types is because one, I've been typed multiple things by different people, and two, because there's an idea that there's different systems that you can actually be typed in MBTI, OPS, Socionics, and all
Hmm.
different kinds of systems. But I pretty much meme type myself as an INFP, as well as Joyce Mings typed me an INFP. One of my people on my server has typed me an INFP and BB, which he's studied for years. So,
Yeah, that's definitely was my conclusion too. Um, I just wanted to touch on that. I didn't say an exact type, and I just like forgot to ask. All right, so we're here going to talk about community building and leadership. Can you give us a little overrun of that? What exactly, like, what do you do?
so I've been running my community since about 2021. Technically started it before that, but it really started taking off in October of 2021, I would say. Um, as far as leadership goes, it's really just about trying to network, hosting events, providing resources, an environment where people can hang out and stuff, discuss things. Uh, I'm pretty much there most of the time, maintaining activity and such.
All right, and she says, community. You mean your Discord server, right? Your community there.
Right, right.
That's down
Yeah.
in the description. It's a pretty big. It's not just typology, but you guys talk about a lot of things, but mostly about typology, right?
Yeah, it's called the Learning Sanctuary now. We've kind of drifted from like being only about typology to being about more like any kind of self-learning and self-development. We listen to a lot of audiobooks together. I actually put together a Habitica guild, which I don't know if anyone will know what Habitica is. It's a basically a habit tracking app where you make tasks, and there's different ways to make it. You can make them daily, weekly, you can make it as as needed. And basically you have a little character and it like gets points and gold if you do the tasks you're supposed to do. Like say I put run 20 minutes every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If I do that, my character will get gold and experience points and level up and learn spells.
Really, I never heard of that. That sounds kind of interesting. I didn't even see that on your server either. There's a huge server. It's like so many channels.
Yeah, I get that a lot. I really don't like narrowing down the topics.
Yeah, yeah, but that's cool. Like you can go in there and get lost. So if you guys want to check it out, it's down in the description below. And you also have a Twitch channel you do, right?
Right. Lately, I've been playing Final Fantasy, and I'll be getting back into some Pokemon and Zelda pretty soon here. And occasionally, we have some typology streams on there. Those are dependent on when we do like our study groups on the server. I'll live stream those as we do it.
All right, and I also saw something about a socionics study group or an introduction to socionics. Did that already happen, or
It did. I did record it, and I'll probably be uploading it to the server pretty soon.
okay, cool. All right. So, what have you been doing since the last podcast? I guess we already talked about that. I know you're YouTubing for a little bit, then that I guess you didn't lost interest in that, right? Then you just kind of went to Twitch and
I think well, with the YouTube, I kind of struggle with like actually reaching out with to people. Like I know 2 Octobers ago I did reach out to a lot of people and we all made a video together. You were there. I think you remember. Um I just really like have a hard time like feeling like I have anything that I can like actually offer that's new and hasn't been said or done before. So I think that kind of like holds me back a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, it's hard to be original with anything anymore.
Yeah.
All right. So what other stuff you oh yeah, your typing session with Eric from Talking with Famous People. I watched a part of that too. Can you I didn't watch that till recently. Can you give us a little info about that?
Okay. I'll try to think back. So basically, this was before I kind of came to the realization that different people will have different like definitions of the functions and different ways of typing. I don't think my typing with him was as controversial as the one I had with CSJ. So the one I had with CSJ, I came into Discord shortly after that, and I was getting DMs from people I've never talked to before, like, "You really think you're this type?" or "Why do you think you're that type?" But I've never talked to these people, and I was getting DMs. But with the talking with famous people typing, I didn't get that as much. There was only like 2 people that said, "Hey, I've seen that video. What do you think about it?" Thinking back to that video, well, actually, not even thinking back to the video, but after watching what he thought of ISFPs, which is what he typed me, kind of, I didn't resonate with it too much. Mostly because he talks about how the ISFP values action, and I think I value organization more than I value action. Even though I wouldn't call myself successfully organized in most cases. He says that NE, which he mentions is considering multiple possibilities and perspectives, is the least accessible to ISFPs, but I feel like that's kind of something I'm doing so much to the point where it creates an inaction in me and makes me indecisive. A lot of people kind of mistake like my inaction for like just being chill with everything. And I don't really feel like it's that. I really think it's just because I can see like how 20 different people are seeing the same thing and it makes it hard to act sometimes.
Yeah, I also want to point out he was doing dab rips and drinking alcohol during that typing too. So
Yeah, I won't knock him for that per se, but I will say I kind of like not 100% of the time and every single person, but in general I kind of value like a sense of sobriety.
yeah, yeah, I think if you, especially, I know you didn't pay for it, right? I guess it was just something that you guys did as like a project, kind of like this. But
Yeah, well, it was actually kind of random. I think I just commented on something and he's like, "Let's talk in 20 minutes." And I'm like, "What?"
yeah, yeah, I don't know. I think he charged. I don't know a whole lot about him. I watched a few of his videos and just didn't resonate with me. But I think he's just more controversy rather than typology. I think he just kind of wants to get his name out there. But
Yeah.
yeah, if you're paying somebody for it, especially, should probably remain sober. I think you're gonna have a little bit different of opinion when you're under the influence of something. All right,
Yeah, yeah, I see what you're saying there. Yeah.
all right. Sam has a question. Hello, Sam. I'm looking into if there's correlation between love language and MBTI. What is Kiseochan's love language?
Hmm. I think probably off the top of my head, probably quality time.
Quality time. He answered for you, CSJ. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I read that is a real common one for INFJs. I mean INFPs. Sorry, I always scare away INFPs, and I try to court them, but it doesn't usually work out very well, unfortunately. But I think INTJ's favorite thing is quality time too. What would you say your second thing is?
um, maybe acts of service, and um that kind of includes me doing them and like having them done. Like one of the things that like really like says me like wow, this person cares a lot like in friendship and stuff is like if they help me with something. It's like um and help can mean a lot of different things, but it just speaks to me a lot when someone's like willing to do something that they didn't have to do.
Yeah, I think that's what I've found most helpful with INFPs, and that's kind of what I do anyways. Because I have a Virgo in Venus. If you want to go and watch my other channel,
Hey,
uh,
me too. No kidding.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's one big thing that we really like is acts of service, especially INFPs. They really seem to have. Would you say this affects you having organization skills? I guess with the TE inferior, it kind of comes out a lot of times.
I think so. I think you know, anyone that can like kind of see TE as like being able to remain efficient in a way.
Hmm.
And like I value that even though like I can struggle with it a lot. So when someone is like by my side helping me with something or even not by my side, like if my husband takes the dogs to their appointment and allows me to be that more efficient at home, it like helps a lot.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Actually, Sam just kind of said something that we kind of said together, I guess. Acts of service could be inferior TE, being helped and doing planning, and INFP friend who's quality time plus acts. So, yeah, I think that's a real common one for INFPs and INTJs. Apparently, we have some kind of compatibility, but I don't see it. And you said you're not a neurodivergent INFP either. You said you had ADHD and autism last time we spoke.
Yeah, I do. I'm diagnosed with both.
How's that like been for you?
Um, I definitely say the most severe one is the ADHD. I've I was late diagnosed in both, but the one that I struggled with is a child was with ADHD. Like I would write whole songs about why I couldn't pay attention in class or just do the things that I was supposed to do
Mm-hmm.
and to succeed and uh just like why I couldn't get myself together. Like I would write whole songs about it. It was very upsetting. I mean, it still is. I've been medicated for a while, which really helped. Then I moved, so I'm currently unmedicated. Um, I guess I hopefully get my medication soon, but that's a whole process because takes months, like just like from getting the doctor to actually being seen. It's crazy.
Yeah, I was kind of a skeptic of it until my son started manifesting these real bad, and ooh boy, was I wrong. Definitely could see the ADHD in him. Did you have any like behavior problem stuff as a kid at school, or it was just like struggling?
I'm primarily inattentive, so my hyperactivity is more internal, and I guess in a way there was behavior issues because I couldn't do my assignments on time, if at all. Um, Very rarely did I ever like act out per se, like lashing out in class or causing like chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think that's actually the research actually shows that the in girls that's actually pretty common for them to have more of a non outwardly expressive symptoms.
Yeah, for sure. Sam has another question, and we have some kind of similar thinking because I do see that ESFPs like the SE, high SE and high NE users kind of get framed with ADHD. What do you feel about NE users having ADHD?
I think Dave's Superpowers did some research that showed that there was clustering, but clustering isn't the same as like causation. So you can't really say like you probably have ADHD if you're an ENFP, for example. Like there's healthy ENFPs and there's unhealthy ENFPs that have debilitating ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think anyway. I think ADHD is, you know, an affliction more than it is like who you are.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned Date's superpowers and OPS. I'm not a fan of OPS whatsoever. It's kind of seems like their philosophy is like you've been typed wrong your whole life. Let's type you the complete reverse of what you're typed and take your money. You're typed as a FISISCP.
FISI, sleep, consume, play, blast.
Okay. Can you explain what that is a little bit?
Um, so FISI is kind of the same as what a lot of, I'll put MBTI in quotes, MBTI tubers will call looping. It's similar.
Mm-hmm.
It's a similar idea. I think although I don't, gifts differing doesn't actually really touch on the concept of looping. Um,
Or cognitive functions at that.
right. Well, it kind of does. It it calls like the functions, instead of like calling them functions, it just calls them like introverted. It calls them introverted feeling, extroverted feeling, but in typing, they it's more about dichotomy, I think. Um, I'm trying to remember the details. I do know that the very first step, according to gifts differing, is to evaluate the JP dichotomy. That's step one.
Mm-hmm. Even though it's completely backwards for introverts.
Well, the step is the same, but what it'll mean for extroverts and introverts is different.
Mm-hmm.
So, the JP dichotomy tells you where you're extroverting, in a perceiving function or in a judging function.
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay.
I forgot what the question was. Oh, FISI, sleep, consume. So sleep in OPS is more about like kind of like reflecting and digesting ideas. It's a lot of, I don't know. I experience it as a lot of not doing anything. I feel the blast last too. Blast is kind of, I don't know if you want to meme it. It's it would be like the people in Discord that'll like explain like entire ideas to someone, you know, in a like almost like a lecture type way or a teaching way, and
Mm-hmm.
I really struggle with being able to do that.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what my sleep, blast, consume, all that stuff was. What they typed me. It just I found an interesting ESTP of all the types. I guess I could kind of see it. It's almost my mirror. My mirror, like a ESFP, is the I can't speak today. The subconscious. It's like an INFJ. But did you officially get typed by OPS, or was that like somebody studied
No,
it?
got typed by someone on my server who has taken their classes.
Okay. Yeah, that's another thing I have trouble with too. There's not like one written source of like how to learn OPS. It kind of just seems like here's a blog here, here's a video there, sort of thing. I guess
Yeah,
unless you want to take their class.
unless you pay for their classes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. All right. Let's see what else. All right. Well, is there anything else you want to bring up? I don't really have much else written planned that we had to talk about.
Um, Well, I guess we were talking about community building.
Yeah.
How was I'm kind of curious, what's your experience in like building a community? I'm kind of not on the YouTube side, so I kind of wonder what's the process of like getting yourself out there. I really struggle with that.
Yeah, I think it's something that I greatly struggle with. I don't think I've really accomplished it all that well yet. Like Gen X Jeff was asking some questions here a minute ago. It just amazes me. Like he just like today we're gonna have a men's group, and tomorrow we're gonna watch this movie or this TV show and discuss it here on Zoom and book clubs and all sorts of stuff. And he has several like servers. Definitely he's an ENTP, so you can see that NE bouncing around. I'm just so
Mhm.
like envious of high end users where they can just got like 30 things going on at once. And I think that's what kind of like YouTubing and being a content creator is all about, having a lot of setting a lot of fires at once, and it kind of combines together.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I don't talk too much about it, but I actually run. Well, run. I use the word run lightly because my main server has like really picked up since
Hmm.
then. But like, I actually started like 5 different servers.
Yeah,
I um I admin a few servers. I admin for Eric Thor. I mod for Frank James.
really.
Admin for a few. If you're on the Discord side, you'll probably know who Anthrax is. Admin for him.
I heard the name. I don't know who that is specifically, besides the band, of course.
He runs a server called Psychology Land.
Oh yeah.
Um, it's kind of on the trollier side though.
Okay.
uh, but yeah, I was wonder if you can relate to this. Wait, where did it go? I was gonna read part of the extrovert like scale marker in socionics, but now I can't find it. But basically, it talks about the introverts' difficulty actually expanding and things like that. It's like, yeah, I can relate to that.
Expanding, like, do you mean reaching out to people?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I have a Discord server too, but I always say it's pretty much just on life support. When I think it's dead, it'll come back right for a little bit, then it goes back down. It's like in a coma or something. I don't know. But like you're talking about, there's hundreds of typology Discord servers out there, right? And you're just like in super competition with them all.
That's the challenge. There, there's hundreds of typology servers, which is already a niche subject. So
Mhm.
you have like 200 servers kind of competing for the same 1,000 members out there.
Yeah. Is there a thing that says like if your server's bigger than that server, is there like any stats or anything like that, like analytics like YouTube has?
Just membership activity, you'd have to gauge yourself. Um, my activity is kind of odd because I do have active voice chats most of the time. My text chats are um a little bit more locked down because I think it might be because one, I'm not much of a text chat person. I don't
Really?
just randomly have like things that I say to everybody, just for no reason.
Hmm.
So, and yeah, in text chats, I kind of don't participate enough to really keep it hopping, but I also moderate them more harshly because I've heard of like people like screenshotting each other's servers and sharing around and reporting servers and things like that.
So what's it like monitoring big time YouTuber servers like you said, Frank James and Eric Thor?
Um, Actually, it's the YouTuber servers are usually pretty easy to moderate because the people who are there are actually there for that channel's content, even though they're a bit smaller. It keeps them more focused. So you don't usually get people that are just there to like, entertain themselves by trolling and such.
Hmm.
You don't get as much of that on the YouTuber servers.
And you said that you actually manage some, so you kind of help them build them and direct it, right?
It depends on the server. I've set up a few servers. A lot of times, someone will have like the server basically made, and then I'll take over by adding the reaction roles, the bots, the the security measures. I'm a 6 wing 5. I actually identify with 6 wing 5 more than any type I've been given by
Really?
anyone else. So I'm really big on like security. I don't know.
I don't know a whole lot about Enneagram. I don't know if I'm a 5 wing 6 or a 5 wing 4. Do you have like an Enneagram specialist on your server?
I have a lot of people that have studied Enneagram. That's kind of what I like about my servers. There's several people on my server that have looked deeply into all the systems. Like
Hmm.
they've read all the books. They've done like deep dives to obtain these books. Um, and some of them are actually the reason I came up with, well, not came up with, but they explained to me like why different systems should be treated differently. Like why if you're talking about MBTI, you should be talking about the material written by Isabel Myers
Hmm.
and not some mix up between some definitions that people have heard when listening to a socionics YouTuber and then a OPS YouTuber and things like that.
I think that's the problem because they almost all use like INFP, INTJ, ENTJ, whatever like that, but multiple systems come to different conclusions on the same archetypes. I think that's when it becomes a problem.
So the biggest problem I think is not only that, but people not knowing that this is the case. So,
Hmm.
someone watches a bunch of different YouTubers that are um have their own systems or ideas of what the types are, jumps into a Discord server and talks, the someone who watched 20 OPS videos jumps into a server and talks to someone that's from CSJ and they're fighting about someone's type. It's
Hmm.
like, well, no wonder they're fighting. They're using completely different systems and they don't even know that they're using different systems. And where it gets even more complicated is eventually some people do figure this out and they think that the solution is to make a new system.
Oh God, like we have enough systems.
And
It's stopping people.
so you end up with like these, 17 different systems. We actually had a meme of this. But basically, it's like, I'll make the new magical system, and then there's 18 systems, and then it shows the next scene. Why are there 18 systems?
Yeah, that's one reason why typology is kind of seen as a joke by mainstream psychology and academics, just because it's not replicable. But I mean, I think the MBTI was a poor system to begin with. It's one of my least favorites. But if you have like 30 different typing systems, of course, you're not gonna replicate it, every time. And people
Yeah,
even like, well, I do MBTI, but like you said, especially now, I mean, I don't know what's like 10, 20 years ago before YouTube got big or whatever. But wow, it's just like so convoluted anymore. It's almost like everybody's dedicated to one person, like a cult.
yeah. I actually, so one of my struggles with the Discord server is that my server seems to grow like really slowly. Like mine didn't pop up overnight like a lot of others did. It like took years to get to this point. And I kind of was asking for like feedback, like why this is. And a lot of people said that I just don't have that cult of personality type thing going for me.
Yeah, you're just not
Like,
dedicated to one person. Like bow down to CSJ, even though he runs his channel and his product like a cult.
yeah. Let's see, a few other reasons that were actually like that actually made sense to me was the fact that I just don't have like a certain type of charisma, which is why I kind of relate to the sleep first. I'm not like radiating this welcoming type of feeling all the time.
I find that
Um,
more comforting because I mean, I'd rather have someone like that who's grounded rather than somebody who's gregarious and annoying, like a fake personality just to kind of lure you in. Like, I just see people fall for that sort of thing. Like, how do you fall for that?
yeah. Although I did, over the times I've been talking to an ISFJ a lot. Might know him on YouTube is The Realities of Typology.
Never
Uh,
heard of that.
him,
There's so many channels, man. I can't keep track of them all.
him and I, we talk a lot. We've been friends for quite a while. He's one of my first friends I met on Discord. And he kind of explained to me that FI users will see FE users as fake.
Hmm.
Because if we tried to be that gregarious, it would be like an effort. But to the real FE user, the wanting connection and harmonious atmosphere and stuff actually like feels natural to them. So it's actually not fake when it's coming from someone who values it like that.
Yeah, it's just what I see as fake about it is that they'll change their opinion, their tone on a whim. If they feel like it's not having the group cohesion or like the group consensus, and like, oh yeah, we'll change our mind. We won't stand for their own personal values. It has to be about, I guess that's just natural for them, like you said, but keeping the group cohesion. But I don't know. I kind of see like, wow, that's kind of flaky.
Yeah, that's how I kind of feel about it too. I have to like check myself all the time. Like, no, FE is more than that because I'll be going around thinking like these fake FE users. I'm like, no, it's not like that.
Yeah. I think when people feign FE, I think that's what you really got to watch out for too. Like a lot of like twisted ENFPs and ESFPs, or yeah, ESTPs who actually have FE, they'll kind of use that to their advantage a lot. I think.
hmm
What was this INFJ or sorry ISFJ guy's name again?
I think his YouTube channel's called The Realities of Typology. He has a pretty good channel.
All right, I might check that out. I've been wanting to get like more of an ISFJ. I haven't got an ISFJ. Well, the last lady said she's an ISFJ and sounded like she was about a. I don't know if you've seen it of Dr. Crystal Smith. She's doing like research on cannabis and psychedelics for substance abuse. It's kind of interesting, pretty abstract and deep for ISFJ, but pretty cool.
Yeah, when I find so the ISFJ in the channel I mentioned, he's a bit older, and I find as ISFJs get older, they do like seem more like on the abstract side.
Yeah, like a lot of the younger ones I couldn't really get along with, but there was this older lady, a couple jobs that I worked with, and I was having like it was a real SITEFE environment where I worked, very corporate structure, and you had to be happy about not getting benefits and not getting fair pay and being a contractor and smile and grin. And if you didn't, you kind of were frowned upon. But she can kind of see that,
Oof.
I was kind of struggling to fit in that environment. She was very
Yeah.
accommodating. I really appreciate that. I always get along with people older than me than younger for some reason, but I don't know why.
I want to try to find that document again because I'm pretty sure there was something I wanted to add. Oh, I keep hitting the wrong button.
The document I sent you?
Yeah.
Mm,
Uh, there it is.
okay.
You kind of had a note about books, which is I find really interesting because I actually have an audiobook role on my server where we Like, this might sound cheesy, but I like it, so we do it. We literally will sit down and listen to an audiobook all together. Um, I can think of like my two favorite off the top of my head. Would be the Four Agreements
Oh yeah, I've seen
and,
people reading that.
and Deep Work by Cal Newport. Deep Work is really hard for me. Deep Work really a book that sounds like it's coming from an NI user, and
Mm-hmm.
is about like really like focusing in on like one thing, for the majority of the time and blocking out distractions. And me and another INFP that I know kind of work antithetical to that idea. Like, we're naturally like have 20 things open all the time. We kind of operate on this constant availability and adaptability,
Mm-hmm.
which is the opposite of what deep work tells you to do. It basically tells you to turn your phone off, while you're doing the deep work, to focus on one thing. It's really hard. On the Habitica app I mentioned, I made like a challenge
Mm-hmm.
based on it. I'm gonna make probably three, but the first one I made was one based on the idea of shutting down and basically like setting a time where you don't take any more work demands for the rest of the day. Um, like, you actually like get offline, you do a work review, and I just find it so difficult because, like I said, I naturally work on this constant adaptability thing. So if I get a message about the server, I want to be on top of it. It's really hard for me to wait till tomorrow.
Yeah, so you're like a workaholic in a sense about like the projects you like to do, right?
Yeah, it's funny because that I'm even this focused on the server, because I have a lot of interests that I drift back from. I'll pick up guitar, forget about it, pick up astrology, forget about it. And I go in and out and in and out of these different subjects all the time. And uh, the one thing that has actually grabbed my focus the most was this Discord server.
And I think that's because you could be so eclectic on it, right? You could have let's learn guitar on this channel and let's talk about astrology and share birth charts on this channel. So it allows you to
Yeah,
have all those worm those rabbit holes to go down when you want to go. Just like a big tunnel system underground, like having an ant farm.
yeah. That's one of the biggest things that I like to listen to a lot of criticism. But one of the things I just can't change is like narrowing down the topics. I can't do it.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe because I'm kind of like on my own journey right now with looking into autism. Some comments I said, "Oh, that's a real ADHD thing you did right there." Like I put ADHD ironically in the title twice of one of my YouTube videos with Gen X Jeff, who was on here a minute ago. I don't know if he's still with us. And like being gifted and all these sort of things. Actually, going to get evaluated for autism next month. Do you mind telling us? You said you're a late diagnosis as well. Can you kind of explain your journey with that?
Yeah, with the autism, I was not diagnosed until a few years ago. But looking back, it's it's kind of strange that I wasn't diagnosed earlier. I did a lot of things that are very stereotypical. I preferred to play by myself than with other kids. I did the stereotypical thing where I lined up all my toys in a parade like all the time, rather than like, I don't know, just like free playing with them.
Mm-hmm.
I was very it was a lot of things just came like a lot later to me. Like, I I was a lot older than I probably should have been when I was learning that I shouldn't just like be allowed to pretend to be a Pokemon whenever I wanted to.
When did that
uh,
stop? Like 27? I don't know how old you are, but that was,
um, I mean, a lot of things, like I wasn't in high school pretending to like be a Pokemon, but like, I would grow out of these things, but it was less growing. I don't like to use that language because that kind of will give people the idea that autism is something that you grow out of, and it's not. It really isn't. Um, you learn to cope and adapt and mask more than you actually grow out of these tendencies.
yeah.
And since I don't really I would consider myself high masking. Um, because a lot of times, like, people will believe me when I tell them I have autism, but they don't know what that means
Mm-hmm.
until it happens. Like, they believe me on the surface when I tell them I have autism, but then they're surprised when I have a meltdown because of the soundboard.
What do your
So,
meltdowns look like? Do you still kind of have those big tantrums like a lot of kids have, or even I guess adults?
I don't have them as often as I did when I worked. I currently don't work anymore, but when I worked in the medical field, especially during, uh, when COVID was still there, but it opened up again. We were getting like 3 times the patient load.
Mm-hmm.
I was like in situations where I would like have to try to get to the break room to have a meltdown that I could feel coming on. And sometimes they're pretty like stereotypical. Slapping, crying, rocking, all of that.
Did people understand? I mean, were you diagnosed then when you were working? Did people understand why you were doing that sort of thing, or would you just do it completely in private?
I tried to keep it in private. It was still kind of the same idea where like people knew I had it, but they didn't know what it meant until they saw me having a meltdown.
Mm. Yeah, it kind of seems like I never really told anybody that or speculated that because I thought about like 10, 12 years ago. I was pretty convinced that I had Asperger's back when they diagnosed Asperger's. Then I got the diagnosis of avoidant personality disorder and said, I guess that must be it. Then I read a lot of conflicting information like you can't have one without the other, meaning avoidant personality disorder, autism. Some people think it's the same spectrum. I'm beginning to think it's just something that happens to autistic kids. I'm pretty 85% convinced I'm probably on the spectrum though. Just seems to make a lot of sense. And I actually jive better with people on the spectrum than neurotypical people.
I feel that, yeah.
How was it like socializing for you when you were older? I mean, like, I mean, not older, but going through school and, like your 20s or whatever.
um, it wasn't too bad. I was never bullied or anything like that. I had some like maybe light bullying sometimes. I didn't like have a bully that like picked on me all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but mostly I was just kind of ignored or given the side eye more than like anything actually happening to me. I got, I always did find friends, mostly other neurodivergent friends, even though we didn't know it at the time. It just kind of, I don't know, you mesh better with people who were similar minded.
Yeah. Like it really didn't float around in school like autism this, autism that, but I think I kind of came before it really started getting mainstream, I guess, recognized. But there's this one kid I talk about in this little bit this video I filmed about INTJs and autism, but he wasn't INTJ, I don't think. But he was obsessed. I remember when like for the pyramids of Giza, he would learn everything there was to learn about the pyramids of Giza, would barely do his schoolwork, and he knew everything there was. And poor kid got picked on a lot. And he's got tired of that all of a sudden. Then he went to like the Statue of Liberty. Like, you know how many pennies can fit in the Statue of Liberty? No, but he sure did. that sort of thing. It's kind of interesting, though. He just got deeply absorbed in like a certain topic, like monotropism.
I don't know why I just remembered this. I just remembered being back in high school and like randomly talking to, so I knew one person into the, it was junior high. I moved to a different junior high in 8th grade, and I knew a person there already. And so I kind of knew who his friends were, and I just randomly started talking to this acquaintance, like a deep dive into astrology, and I was like talking about how he was a Leo and my moon was in this sign, and all the like a whole monologue. And I realize now that he was looking at me like, uh, okay.
Yeah, you talk about your interest about somebody and you get so in tune with it, you don't realize that you're making them like uncomfortable or just weirded out or like, what the hell are you talking about, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that plenty of times. All right. Well, I think it's about time to wrap it up. I do see we have some viewers. If you have questions, go and put them in the chat. We'll answer those real quick. We talked about your books. This is something I usually ask at the end. What is the Four Agreements about? I've seen a lot of people reading it and talking about it, but I haven't really read much of it myself or looked into it much.
The Four Agreements is basically, well, it's four agreements that you're meant to have with yourself.
Mhm.
Let me see if I can remember them. I know the first one, and probably one of my favorite ones, is be impeccable with your word. Um, I kind of wonder if the reason I like that one so much is because it kind of comes natural to me. Like, there's a lot of people that suggest things that I won't do, and when they ask me why, a lot of times my reason is just like integrity first. um, let's see. I know one of them. I don't know if it's the second one, but it's not to be too attached, not to take things personally.
Okay, very cool. I have to check that out. I've seen it recommended a lot and stuff like that.
Apparently,
Well,
I need to listen to it again because I don't remember all four of them.
yeah, that's the hard part with audiobooks for me is kind of like, I don't know, I didn't retain them as much as I would a regular book. I used to listen to them a lot when I traveled a lot or worked in a position where I had headphones in, but now I spend more time reading. All right. What would you like others to know about you or your being an INFP or whatever type in whatever system, I guess?
um, I guess one of the things to know about me would be, that's a good question. Why is this stumping me? uh, hmm. I Wow, I'm stumped on this question because I usually like, I don't know, not too open about myself a lot. I don't
Okay.
know. I guess to know that even like even if it doesn't seem like I'm doing a whole lot, I am always trying to make the server better. Always doing something to like improve it. I care about it a lot. I put my heart and soul in it. Um, and I guess one thing would be that, like, I don't know, it means a lot to me when people actually give it a chance.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty comprehensive server. It's down in the description in the show notes if you want to go check it out, which I strongly suggest you do if you are into Discord. There's a little bit for everybody there, so go ahead and check it out. You can definitely see the work that she poured into it.
I guess should tag on to that my server's kind of hard to join because I'm a little bit I value security a lot. Okay, translation. I'm a little bit paranoid.
Okay.
But if you tell me you're from Jeff's video, I'll bypass all those steps for you and give you direct access.
Okay. Well, be careful with that. Still screwing them. Not just kidding. All right. Is there anything you'd like to know about INTJs?
So you say you have a hard time with INFPs, and I mostly want to speculate, because I did date an INF or INTJ in my early 20s.
Yeah.
Is it like because does it have to do with kind of like their lack of like it's kind of like a lack of independence, but mostly in areas of like getting things done for themselves. Like I know like I took forever to get my driver's license and things like that. Is that part of the incompatibility you see?
I don't know exactly what it is. I think I come off too intense for them. I think I maybe come on too strong. I read somewhere, I think it was on Reddit, where if you an INFP finds out that you like them, they stop liking you and they kind of just withdraw. And it's usually like a self confidence thing that they don't feel good enough or something like that. Have you heard anything like that?
I can kind of relate to that. Um it depends like if I can see that they have like reasons for liking me. Like if someone doesn't really know me and they're kind of like and I get any kind of like simp vibe from them. I'm kind of like,
Hmm.
well, you don't like me for the right reasons because you don't even know me.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think I come off too intense, maybe. I don't know if it's a part of that because I like them and all of a sudden, like, oh, they're having second thoughts or whatever. And like you said, the four agreements thing, it seemed like INFPs, they can be kind of, I don't know, wishy washy about their word. Like, because I've had INFPs say, oh, I'll go out with you. Then, they're just like 1,000 excuses because they just, I guess women are trained in general, generally speaking, not speaking about all of them, that they kind of have to be accommodating and not be direct with their language and stuff like that. And they're kind of brought up that way. Is that because I mean I guess most INFPs are women. I ran into a few here and there guys, and they're okay. I usually get along with them pretty well.
Yeah, I can see that happening. Not really with an intention to be wishy washy, but more of like we kind of idealize what we're like willing to do, what we have the energy to do. And then when time hits the fan, it might really be hard to like feel like we're, well, at least for me, like I'll just give you an example. This video itself, 3 o'clock rolled around and I'm like, I gotta, gotta, and trying to like wake my brain up, get energized, and then it's
Mm-hmm.
4 o'clock, and I'm like, I'm not even ready yet, and and it's like, I don't know, it's the state we want to like we think we can be in when we have plans, and the state we're actually in when the plans come around don't always align.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for the insight there. I guess I kind of just given up on them really, but I guess if the opportunity comes, that'd be what it is. All right. Do you have anything you'd like to say before you go?
Um, I don't know. Join my server, hang out. Might be shy or quiet at first, but I get more talkative when you get to know me.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there. You could join mine too, but it's not as comprehensive and I guess a lot going on like hers is. Hers is pretty busy. It's always something going on. Someone's always awake there. So go ahead and check it out. And Flamo got lucky about something. I'm not sure what. Maybe he found. I know he was dating an INFP for a while. But Flamo, Sam, Gen X Jeff, thank you for watching and participating in the chat. I appreciate it. Everybody have a good day.
Bye.